American activists want to go to Syria to act as human shields. They're going to camp out in targets and probably sing bad renditions of Kumbaya. This happens after more appearances by Code Pink, who for some reason can get into places where I'd be kicked out of instantly. If there's a heaven, Code Pink would be at the pearly gates screaming that St. Peter be tried for war crimes. But don't lump a reluctance about bombing Syria with these peace puppets. For them, any potential conflict is met with an anguished no. There is no right or wrong, only a universal need for peace, which ignores the atrocities of human history. So what are pacifists? They will not fight under any circumstance. It seems principled, but not when you realize that they can only exist if non-pacifists fight to protect them. It's impossible for all of us to be pacifists. The hordes of incoming non-pacifists, Nazis, Imperial Japan, radical Islamists, Klingons, they all would have killed us. But at least they aren't hypocrites. Last week, I asked, where are the Hollywood peaceniks? In one giant underground rehab? I guess bashing Obama is like disagreeing with your favorite hippie professor. You can't protest a protester. But wacko leftist Ed Asner thinks stars aren't coming out against the war because of this. Quote, a lot of people don't want to feel anti-black by being opposed to Obama. Wow. So, Ed, you're telling me that celebrities are abandoning a principled stand in order to preserve their social standing among their own cowardly circles? In Hollywood, that's called Monday. Kimberly, do you
I knew you were going to say this.
What?
I was just sitting duck here. Okay, good. Yeah.
We haven't heard from a lot of people, but now we've heard from Ed Asner. Is he right? Did he admit what a lot of people are scared of doing?
Well, I do know Ed personally.
Oh, you know everybody.
Well, he's my uncle from my first marriage, so I guess technically
Ed
he's
Asner?
my divorced uncle. Yeah, no, really.
Wow.
I stayed at his house. I know, yeah. His wife Cindy, son.
Lou Grant.
Very nice man, very talented actor. As you can imagine, we had some serious discussions at all the dinner tables, holidays, everything was of, differing viewpoints.
Yes.
But at least he's trying to tell the truth here and speak out about what he believes is the real reason behind it. Go ahead.
But he just validated everything that a lot of conservatives felt.
What he did is
he should come over to the conservative side.
He provided cover for the rest of the liberal Hollywood principled anti-war people. BuzzFeed put up, in response probably to your question, Greg, BuzzFeed put up 14 principled anti-war activists who they feared being kidnapped because we haven't heard from them since then. Sheryl Crow, Springsteen, Martin Sheen, Sean Penn, Tim Robbins, Clooney, Janine Garofalo, Neil Young, et cetera, et cetera. I'm wondering Madonna, and I'm thinking one of your good friends, Jane Fonda, Hanoi Jane, where are all these people?
Well, first of all, why, these are supporters of Obama. Supporters of any president are not going to go out there and stand up against him. Why would they do that?
Because, so in those...
And Ed Asner saying because he's black.
Supporting Obama goes here, and a bunch of Syrians in war dying here. That's where they go.
You keep saying a bunch of Syrians are dying. You have no idea what you're talking about when you say that. If we're going to attack military installations, assumption
no one's going to die.
No, military people. Don't you want some military people in Assad's army to die?
Not our war.
Dana, I want to bring you in here. I'm going to let's go to this MoveOn.org ad, which actually I haven't watched because I was busy getting my nails done.
We never set out to spend 8 years at war in Iraq or to be mired down for more than a decade of fighting in Afghanistan. So what should America expect if we rush into Syria alone with no real plan for the consequences? We already know it gets worse. Congress, most Americans oppose missile strikes in Syria. Don't lead us down this road again.
Wow. Dana, do you think that a lot of this is always just going to be the same answer, which is don't go to war, even if there is a war that is you're meant to go into? They're never. It's just it's an assumption they always land on.
Possibly, maybe that you could just say that that's principled in a way. Remember, MoveOn.org was the same group that right before the testimony in regards to the surge in Iraq put out the full-page ad, and they named General David Petraeus General Betrayus.
Very clever.
That? And it was. I remember at the time they had a sinking feeling of how disgusting it is. On the Hollywood piece, President Obama has worked harder and built better relationships with people in Hollywood than he has with members of Congress. Unfortunately for him, people in Hollywood don't get a chance to make a vote. And you have MoveOn.org plus AIPAC, which is the association that works on Israel relations. They're both going to score this vote, which means that for members of Congress, you have to figure out, are you going to go with the Move On people, which that might be where your heart is, but you also might support Israel. So they're betwixt and between.
Betwixt and between. That's
I like that.
interesting.
What a nice play on words.
And also, President Obama had to cancel his fundraising trip to Hollywood, which sucks because the Weinsteins had just disinfected their hot tub.
Okay, well, that's unfortunate. I really prefer a disinfected hot tub. I mean, you can barely keep me away from one. But I think maybe he was thinking he wasn't getting a very favorable controlled water. Love
Controlled
it.
water.
Can't live without it. Although my basement flooded this weekend.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but he knows he's not that popular right now
Yes.
in Hollywood. So
I'll tell
I'm gonna run
you
over
when you're
there.
going to find him. There's an upcoming state dinner for the president of Brazil.
Yeah.
Hollywood will be there.
Yeah.
The one thing I would say is that the international community has been building over the weekend more and more support for President Obama's position. There have been some members of Congress, like Barbara Mikulski, who have seen the light finally and gotten out of their cowardly position. And maybe, just maybe, who knows? There's a possibility you could pull this off.
It's still
Despite
about
Eric Boland.
It's
to the world.
out of the 450 members of Congress, there's still only about 24 who are strongly
Well,
in favor of going.
Right.
Bob could have. That MoveOn.org commercial you played. That would have been Bob's one more thing every single day for the last 2 years, up until 3 months ago.
That's wrong. Not when it has to do with chemical weapons and killing children. Not at all.
All right.
And I think MoveOn.org should be ashamed of themselves.
All right. Okay, then. Directly ahead, it's...